I can fight monsters, I can't fight physics.
So question about the life cycle of stars. So what we'll do, normally they ask compare the life cycle of a small star to a large star. So let's have a look. So in both cases, a large star and a small star, how they start off is the same. So let's talk about that. So it starts off as a cloud of dust and gas, and we call that a nebula. But they don't like to use the word nebula. Okay, so make sure you say cloud and dust and gas. And what happens, gravitational forces pulls all this together, pull the matter together, so it becomes hot and dense. So then it becomes what we call a protostar. Now, what is a protostar? That is not where we are at the moment. So this is where it's not hot enough or dense enough for fusion to occur. Okay, so what happens? Gravity pulls more stuff together and it becomes a main sequence star. Okay, now two things you gotta be able to describe in the main sequence star: the process that happens, so the process of fusion. So what is fusion? It's the joining of two light nuclei into one heavy. So therefore two hydrogen isotopes H2 and H3 fuse or join together to become helium 4-2. Okay, what is the process of fusion? Or what is the conditions for fusion? It requires high temperature and high pressure. I don't think I'll be able to squeeze that in. Let's have a look. Yeah, just about squeezed it in. Why do you need high temperature, high pressure? Because you've got to overcome the electrostatic repulsion because hydrogen 2 and hydrogen 3 or deuterium and tritium are both positively charged. So there's lots of repulsion. Okay, the other thing you got to be able to talk about it is why is it stable? So the sun, our sun, is at the main sequence stage, is about 4 or 5 billion years old, halfway through its life. It's stable because we've got to be talk about the forces. So you've got the gravitational forces inwards because there's huge mass, isn't there? Gravitational force inwards. And what do we know about that? That's balanced by some sort of forces outwards. So the nuclear reactions or fusion reactions outwards. Okay, sometimes you see on some markings they say radiation pressure or nuclear radiation pressure outwards, which is okay also. So this is what's happening at the moment. Okay, all the hydrogen turns into helium, but eventually all the hydrogen is used up and is turned into helium. So if you're a small star, you become a what we call a red giant. If you're a large star, you become a red supergiant. Okay, now in both cases, here, in both of these, you have the fusion of helium into heavier elements up to iron. Okay, so whether it's a red giant or a red supergiant, that's the process that's happening. Eventually, in a red giant, once you've fused everything up until iron, it then cools and contracts and becomes a white dwarf, and then cools further and becomes a black dwarf. So that is the fate of our sun. Okay, if you're a red supergiant, you would then supernova. Okay, and that just means explosion. Here, because it's still hot, you get the fusion of uh, iron into heavier elements. Okay, so if you ever wondered how gold and uranium, silver, and all that, how is that present in our Earth, is because the Earth at one stage may have been the remnants of a supernova. Okay, so that's the evidence for it. And then eventually, it would then, if it's dense enough, it'd become a neutron star. and if the mass of it was over a certain amount, which you don't need to know, it would become a black hole if it's really dense. Okay, so